is everybody doing? How is everybody doing? I want to hear everything you have to say about everything that's been going on. That's why we do it. That's why we are here. We want to hear everything that the fam has to say about what's been going on this political time. Did you have something to say about the last show that you didn't get a chance to say? We just want to hear. I just want to hear. Let's just talk to each other for a little while without all the other people. And let's just talk about some stuff that's been going on. So that's what we're going to do. The lines are full, so we're going to get to do that really quick. Just hit the like button if you are in here, and let me take care of one quick thing, and we will get straight to the calls. No worries. So let me handle one quick thing that I'm handling right now, and we get straight to the calls because I want to hear what everybody got to say. So politics. So I'm going to my first caller. My first call is coming from 240. What is your name? Where you calling from? And what's on your mind? Oh, hold on a second. Wait a minute. Hung up on me. Hold on. Something's going on. Hold on 1 second. Something's going on with the interwebs. It's always something, ain't it? Did y'all see what happened? Did anything happen in the news today that I missed? I don't think so. I do not think so. I don't think anything happened today. I saw they gonna have somebody sent me something from the what you call it, the Defense Department, that said something about when they're gonna release and how they gonna do it. Let's not get conspiratorial, but they did say they want to, like what they want to call it, let me get rid of this one, a nationwide launch, for lack of a better term, a nationwide launch. So let me try to go. I'm going to 646. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what is on your mind?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Yvette, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Listen, you never get to Is God Dessa.
Is it? What's going on with you?
Oh, man, listen, I've been listening, but the calls, that line has been so full, I have not been able to get through. I've been like, I've been irritated because I'm like, I can't get through. There ain't nobody talking to me on the chat. I'm like, I ain't spoke to that in a minute. But then I just wanted to call in and say just congratulations on how far everything has gone. It's been like a year and a half since I've been called in on the show. And just our growth with me just watching it. I'm 24 now. So when I did everything, when I first started out listening to you, doing like little YouTube chat videos with you and stuff like that, I was like 20, 21. But like, I've grown politically, I voted down ballot.
Okay.
I'm still here. I'm still doing it. One thing I want to say though.
Go ahead.
And even though I know we still here, we still doing this thing, I just don't feel like Black America has another 4 years. Like we just financially, mentally, spiritually, I don't think we have it another 4 years to sit back and wait to watch and see what happens.
Well, I don't think so either, especially, the funny thing is I was listening to a podcast today and they were talking about COVID. Now, one of the things that they were talking about that I found very interesting, they were talking about how sales have actually gone up for a lot of stuff. So people are buying more stuff at home because they're not going to restaurants. The white people, disproportionately, we know who has the wealth, are buying Peloton cycles. They gonna get themselves fit. They buying expensive little bikes because they got to keep their job. On the other hand, we're falling off a cliff, right? And so we're kind of at this point again where it's like there are 2 different worlds. And I don't think, we haven't gotten to the bottom yet because they're not, part of what has floated this whole thing is that initial stimulus, right? But I don't think people understand.
We're not gonna get that. I still ain't get mine, but okay.
But you know what?
I'm waiting on that stimmy.
I think that was gone. I think after October 15th, you just stimmied out. I think you stimmied out. They done stimmied you out the door and cooked it up. But I don't think
now new administration going in, so they probably done fired the workers that was working for the stimulus.
Oh yeah, you got to get out. You got to get out. If you ain't trying to keep Trump in there, you gonna have to get out. You gonna have to hit the curb. But what I'm saying is, I don't think people understand that. Even like the people who did get it, we talking about ADOS and I don't think they understand that. That's not. It doesn't look like that's coming no more, right? It don't look like we getting another one anytime soon. So like, what happens in the meantime? And I don't think we really understand what life looks like in the meantime, right? Until this whole vaccine. Now we don't even know how the vaccine gonna work out. We don't know. It's 97% approved. I believe when I see it. Give it to all the police and stuff and judges, and if they don't fall out, then let's go.
Give it to them first, and we see what's going on.
Yeah. That's how I know you trust it. If you don't give it to your most trusted, people, if you don't give it to your politicians, I don't think you trust it. But I heard that's what Trump got. Trump got something like that. Clear them right up. So we'll see.
We will. Well, just keep pushing, keep going. Like I said, I miss you. I love you so much.
Love you back.
You're just a role model for me in so many ways. And just keep going. I'm still trying to wake up people on my end.
Yeah, don't burn yourself out.
As I thought it would, but we doing things over here.
Got to.
Okay, I'm gonna try to call in next show. Get somebody off the line so I can get
All right, fam. I appreciate you. I love this because people who don't normally get to call in because it's not congested. People look for me Monday and Wednesday, not Thursday. So ain't nobody here. So we still get to talk. So people because the lines are full every time. Some people had a show on speed dial. So like the lines are just like full. So that's kind of what we're up against. And that's wonderful because I remember a time when wasn't hardly nobody really calling. So hey, kudos. But yeah, I think we're gonna realize some things real soon. And like I think some of y'all who are preaching to people, I don't know how much you're gonna have to preach once all this money stops coming in and people realize that like it's not gonna be enough to float us anyway. It's gonna be some come to Jesus meetings that has to happen. So anyway, I want to go to my next call. I want to go to 309. 309. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, good evening, Ed. Hey, how you doing? I'm a first-time caller.
Hey, what's going on with you? How you doing?
Hey, sister, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, fam.
Hey, I'm so proud of you and Tone. Y'all doing a great thing.
Thank you.
So proud of y'all, and I believe we're gonna make it happen sooner or later.
Got to. We don't got no choice. That's the beauty of this moment. People are finally realizing there ain't no choice. Well, maybe I can do reparations, or maybe I can start a haberdashery. Ain't got no choice.
Well, I truly believe that we deserve it. I mean, our ancestors worked. That's a debt that's owed, and America owes us that money. They owe it to us, and it's a book that I read. It's called The Debt. It's by Randall Robinson.
Yep.
It's a lot of good points in there. He's talking about the 94 crime bill, and how the Democratic Party is truly they've been really playing us for some suckers, basically, for a bunch of fools.
Mm-hmm.
And we really need to change our politics as a black nation.
And
I'm talking about ADOS.
Yeah, and the thing is, if somebody playing you for a fool, what are you gonna do about it? You just can't keep complaining. Well, I don't know why you keep treating me this way, and you so mean to me, and you just ain't nice some of the time. No, what are you gonna do about what you're doing to allow this person to keep playing you as a fool? That's the key issue.
You're right. And this book was written in 2000. He mentioned a lot of good points. I mean, it was a good read. It was a really good read. And hey, I'm not gonna hold you too long. I know you got a lot of people on the line. I'm just glad I got through. And I just want to encourage you and Tone and the new black media, the new voices of black media. Mm-hmm. I mean, y'all try to come together, and we're gonna make this thing. We're gonna make this work. It's gonna work eventually, sooner or later.
Hey, you eventually. As long as people don't get tired, we be all right. But
we just gotta keep pressing on.
Absolutely, appreciate it, fam. I appreciate you called in. Thank you so much. Yeah, gotta keep pressing, and I'm gonna keep pressing on these calls. So I'm going to 919. 919. What is your name? Where you calling from? And what is on your mind? 919.
Hello.
Hey.
You done?
Yes.
This is Emily Fontaine. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm a huge admirer.
Thank you.
Huge admirer of both you and Antonio Moore. Your education is supreme. Absolutely supreme.
Thank you.
I'm a Puerto Rican. I was born in the South Bronx.
Okay.
Grew up in the South Bronx. And there is no doubt in my mind that America must pay reparations to American descendants of slavery before we become the kind of humanist society we always should have been.
You're the modern day Malcolm X.
You are the modern day Malcolm X. Everybody out there needs to know that.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate that. And let me just say, I agree with you. I mean, it's funny, like, to me, people try to skip the step. Like, people try to say, well, we're good people, so we have to provide a good quality of life. You're skipping something. You have to take care of the group, or you have to pay redress. You have to pay what has to be paid to show that you're that kind of people. This is the thing that you do to start on that path. To start on the path to show that you're the kind of people who you say you are. It's like I said, what King said last show. You know, do what you said on paper. You have to do that first. And then you move on to kind of do that to everyone. But like, we're like the pink elephant in the room. You have to, this is the debt. And everybody who looks at America knows what America is by what it has done to ADOS and what it has not repaid ADOS.
Absolutely. So true. My husband and I are with you 150%.
Oh, I appreciate it.
You've got our love.
Thank you.
You've got our trust. Keep on going. Please keep enlightening us.
Thank you. I appreciate you, fam. Tell your husband, say what's up. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Miss Gardner.
Thank you. Thank you, fam. I had already hit the thing. Y'all got to tell me when y'all got somebody else coming on the line so I won't cut them off. Oh, because it's the fingers, you know, I just be trying to move because it's the call-in show. I be trying to get everybody in who ain't had a chance to get in. But I appreciate that. That was a heartfelt call. I appreciate that. And she made a good point in terms of you can't keep talking about like we're this humanist group and well, we just got to love everybody and do for everybody. Everybody knows who you haven't done for and why you haven't done it. We all know that. So I don't care whether you are on the right or on the left. When you talk about just being American and everybody knows what you're avoiding. And you're avoiding this group right here that you harm more than any other group. That's what you're doing. That's a problem. Anyway, going to my next call. I am going to 713. 713, what is your name, where you calling from, and what's on your mind? See, did that again. I don't know why I keep sticking. Let me see. Hold on 1 second, 713. Can you hear me, 713?
I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Yes, this is Bryce from Houston. How you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great.
Good.
I'm a first-time caller, a long-time listener.
Okay.
So it's great to get on with you tonight.
Good to hear. What's going on with you? What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just this is actually the first time I even attempted to call. I just normally listen.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I got through, so I appreciate you. All right, so let me get to my question.
Sure.
In terms of specifically how like the Biden administration is going to look, how do you think that's going to play out in terms of, you know, Mitch McConnell being the Senate Majority Leader? Like, I mean, the man can literally block anything, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how do we, as ADOS, leverage in that moment? It's like, do we have to say, oh, well, we have to get the Senate blue, or we just have to wait the next 4 years? How do you see that playing out?
Well, I just don't think, you know, I've seen that. I've heard that whole story before. Like, you just got to get this thing blue, and you just got, I don't think that works.
Right.
I think, you know, what I think has to happen as we move forward in these next, I'm not saying the whole of Biden's term, but I'm saying as we move forward, we have to turn our lens kind of inward for a little while. And I'm not saying it's totally inward. I'm not saying that we just look at each other all the time and we don't look at them. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is this. Part of the problem for us as adults, even though we changed the whole conversation, right? We changed everything. I don't even think we understand how we changed the whole primary. Nobody was expecting to have a reparations conversation. Now what has to happen is that we have to, and I've mentioned this on the show, but I haven't gone into specifics about it. But we have to grow. And I think we have to be ready. In order to grow, you have to be ready for the opportunity to grow. Which means that I think that when I already see, like, Biden ain't gonna do nothing about Trump and all this stuff. So I already know.
Agreed.
I already know that people are going to be disappointed because they were promised a certain thing, right? They were promised a certain kind of, we the resistance. We out here in these streets. They were promised that. But the problem is, that's not what's going to happen. The problem is that's not, so what? You're not no resistance. I'm resisting the fact. So what's going to happen is people are going to be disappointed. And what we have to be ready to do is to bring people in and say, listen, I understand you're disappointed. I understand you voted. We can't just be mad with them. I understand you voted for Biden. You thought it was going to be something. You thought it was going to be something that it wasn't. But let me show you that Biden is not your political solution. No politician is your political solution. This political movement is your political solution. And we have to be ready. Like, I think in this moment, and that's why when people talk about, Yvette, why did you decide to organize, or why did you decide to, like, go official? Because I think this is the moment that we have to grow and build so that we become a bigger group, a bigger organization, and a bigger force to be dealt with. So some of the stuff that's happening right now, we have to just turn inward and say, how do we build and become the institutional, organized apparatus to take in these people who are going to be disappointed and disaffected, by a Biden administration. I think that's the point right now. We have to figure out, okay, what kind of group do we need to be, right? And where do we need to be? And what kind of outreach do we have to make sure when these people get disappointed, when our people get disappointed by Biden, and you gonna be disappointed, that they have somewhere to go. I think that should be the focus right now.
Yes, and to be honest, a big telling point for me was, again, when I remember during the primaries where Biden was literally on the stage saying, I have the black vote, and my goodness, we proved him right in terms of us as a black race. It's like he knew we're a captured vote, and he knows we can't think for ourselves the way we should, right? So it's like, how do we grow out of that? But I guess we guys gotta stay with it, right?
We have to suffer to grow out of it, and that's the sad part about it. Nobody really wants to talk about that, but you kind of have to suffer, meaning that you have to be willing to take a hit, and be willing to cost, be willing to cost a Democrat their seat, in order to get what you need as a group, or be willing to cost somebody the White House in order to get what we need as a group. And that may require that we have somebody in there who we don't necessarily want in there, just to show you what we're willing to do to you if we don't get what we need. It ain't even a matter of what we want no more. This is a matter of what is needed and what is necessary, not just what is old, because what is old, but there's a whole black agenda outside of what is old. And there's a whole bunch of policies outside of what is old. So I think if we don't get to a space where we're willing to hold people and hold politicians accountable, we already in trouble. You want to talk about trouble? Like, I don't think we've seen the kind of mess that we're gonna be in and that we are in if we're not willing to do that. And so I think we have to be willing to do that.
Agreed 100%, fam. I appreciate you giving me the time.
No problem. Thank you so much for calling in, fam. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right, take it easy.
You too. Let me hold on one second. Let me go to the next call. I am going now to 614. What is your name? Where you calling from? And what is on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, how you doing? This is Bryce from Columbus, Ohio. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Good. I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for asking.
Wonderful.
I want to get your opinion on what you think is the next move for Trump in regards to his firings of national security people. Is this the beginning of a coup, or what are we looking at here, in your opinion?
Well, listen, I think Trump thinks he was cheated, right? I don't think he's making it. I think he believes that. I think he believes that. This is not about what nobody else feel. I'm talking about what he feel right now. I think he believes that, right? So the question becomes, if you believe that, what are you gonna do? And part of the reason, and not only just what are you gonna do, but what does it take to get you out of that White House? So I think that's part of the reason you see Biden talking the way he's talking about. Well, we want to move on. We don't want to have no investigations. We don't want to do that. Yeah, y'all trying to figure out a way to get Trump out of there. And what that's going to mean is that you absolve him of any crimes, right? So you're going to say, we're not going to do anything. I think you will see, people talked about prosecuting him after he's out of office. I think you're going to see a lot of that stuff go away. I think they're going to make some deals, some real sweet deals to get him to leave. They're not going to admit to it, but they're going to make some sweetheart deals. Because really what they don't want either, and I don't even know if you can get this, but what they don't want either, they don't want Trump trolling Biden the entire time he's in office. And I don't know what you have to give the man who's a professional troll. I don't know what you're going to give a man who's a professional troll not to troll. That's what he do. Right?
Well, yeah, I see. It's an interesting time to be alive. I tell you that much.
Oh yeah. You can't. No doubt about that. Now, no doubt about that, fam. No doubt about that. I have never been alive in a point.
Well, thanks for taking my call.
Like this. No, thank you, fam. I appreciate you calling in. I've never been alive at a point like this. This is really something else. I appreciate you. If anybody else got any thoughts, let me know too, because this is gonna be something. You understand me? This is really gonna be something, and people gonna be. You might hear about this because I don't really know. We all guessing about what's gonna happen. We don't know. Don't nobody know. I don't know what Trump doing. I know he said he won the election. Child, he said that and he meant it. 408, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, Yvette? This is Jerome calling from San Jose.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, I just wanted to take it back to the election real quick.
Okay.
And just say that I'm extremely disappointed in what happened in California. And it's kind of an eye-opener because we found out that California is really red, and they just voted blue on the top of the ticket. Everything else on the ticket, they voted red. So we had Prop 16, which was to get affirmative action put back in California. It got a hard no. And we had the other one, Prop 22, with the gig economy.
Yep.
And that got a yes. And, they paid over $200 million, the highest ever in the history of California, in ads. And they were just straight lying in the ads.
But they said they're going to do it everywhere. They said they're going to take that. They said they're going to take that and they're going to do it everywhere now. What they did in California, they're going to take it all across America.
Exactly. And I also want to shout out the ADOS Sacramento because they put in a lot of work and got the AB 3121 passed. So Governor Newsom signed off on letting us do the reparation study. That's a landmark, the first of its kind.
Absolutely.
And excuse me. The other thing I want to talk about is I don't know if you guys seen the video about the Karen lady in the Bay Area who went off on the black family. She walked up on them with a taser, trying to say that their pit bull attacked her little dog. And she told them that you guys are acting black in a white neighborhood. And they were like, "What? What do you mean?" And she's like, "You guys are acting normal." And this has been like all over the news and everything.
I saw.
And she was telling them, like, you guys need to act normal. You can't be acting like that out here. And I was thinking, I wanted to play devil's advocate on this subject because I was thinking of it from a perspective of if it was a black ADOS woman who had came up to him and was like, "Hey, y'all can't be acting like that around here," it would have been sound advice. And the reason
you know what though, I don't think it would have been an issue if she had said y'all acting black in a white neighborhood. But if an ADOS person says you acting, listen, fam, you acting real around here. You know what it is. It's taken differently, right? So I think because she is white and probably racist and inarticulate, so she said it wrong, right? So I think she said it racist. I mean, that's kind of the best way to say it. Like, she said it racist. Like, you are around white people. You gotta be like white people. I can't really. So I think that's probably, and the thing is, like, I don't understand why. See, you know what it is too? Why can't white people have a conversation with us without going racist? Just say, listen, that's a pit bull. Now your pit bull. This pit bull was over here messing with my dog. Now I've seen pit bulls grab little dogs by the neck, and it looked like that's what he tried to do. Why elevate it to like, well, you acting? No, you can tell somebody they acting a fool because there are white fools and black fools. So you can tell somebody they acting a fool. You acting a whole fool without bringing up race, because what she did when you bring up race is that you say that white people are civilized and black people are uncivilized, and you're not acting. You're supposed to be acting white. What she really should have said is that, like, listen, you are not a good caretaker for this animal that you have. This animal that you have has to have a lot of care and training, and I don't think you are the person. I don't think you did it. I don't think you're the person for it. That's a fine conversation. That's a reasonable conversation, especially depending on what the pit bull did or didn't do. I didn't see the pit bull, but I've seen pit bulls do a lot of things, and I'm not trying to besmirch them, but I'm just saying, why do you bring up white and black? Why is it that though? Why is white the thing that's civilized and black the thing that's, uncivilized? Why'd you have to do it like that? What was that?
Yeah, the thing, well, she wasn't saying civilized, she was saying normal, and it reminded me of what you said before, is that America made white people normal.
Yeah, normalized. Yeah. That's all it is. Ain't nothing else. It ain't nothing but a normalized group. You get to be normal in America, have monies and all this stuff, and everybody else gets to be abnormal. But you can't, and then let me tell you something else. You can't make a group abnormal if that's the standard that we're using. You can't make a group abnormal because of oppression. They'd be like, why you acting abnormal? Well, you did some stuff, so I don't know. Why you that way? So it's all very interesting.
And that's all I wanted to say, but thank you, Yvette, and we got a lot of work to do educating our people, because in 4 years we can't let this happen again. I
agree, fam. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate you calling in, fam. Thank you so much. Because I saw that too, and it's just like, I don't have no problem. I've seen her. I actually probably am a little bit biased because I actually witnessed a pit bull kill a little dog one time, like just grab him by the guts and throw him around. So I'm not saying that it's wrong to like call somebody into account. But why is it always that way? Why is it always where you're being niggardly? I mean, why is it why can't that just be and y'all say y'all don't see race, but you do. You do see it. You see it. You absolutely see it. Because you didn't say this is just the wrong thing. You didn't make an argument. Well, why you can't be white? What does that mean? Because I've seen at the dog park, I've seen a white man come in with a dog that they had to run him out of the park, and he was white. So what does that mean? Anyway, let me go to the next call. Let me go to 317. 317, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello?
Hey, 317, what's going on?
Hello? Hi, my name is Miss Yana, and I'm from Indianapolis. I'm 19, and I'm a college student.
Hey!
And I want to thank you and Tone for all the work you do. It's amazing. I don't even know how you come up with things like this, or even begin to start. I just want to give you your praise. I'm so thankful for that.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so nervous.
Take your time. Ain't nobody here but us.
I'm sorry. Okay. Well, I've been watching your show for a couple years now. My mom got me, hooked on this.
Oh, good mama.
And for a long time, I was raised Pan-Africanist, and so we were listening to Malcolm X and watching Dr. Umar and stuff. And not to say their work went into vain, but after listening to you guys, they really spoke to my spirit and who I am, and gave me an identity. For a long time, I was I'm African, or I'm a stolen African. But y'all really explained and broke down things with data and evidence in your books. I just want to thank you again for that. So I guess I really want to ask you, in my city, so many young black men have been murdered in the last couple months, gun violence and stuff. And I was just worried. I was like, how am I supposed to like navigate and like put ADOS into like their minds, or like, you know, try to educate them when like they're like nowhere near to even like understanding who they are. You know what I'm saying? Because of like the gang violence and stuff. Like, I've always been nervous about that and like trying to navigate that.
Who are you trying to navigate this with? Like, are you talking about friends of yours who are black men, or black men that you may encounter? Oh, friends. Okay.
Like, yeah, my age group, yeah, friends. Like, I know, like, on Snapchat, like, a lot of people are, like, throwing around, like, this screenshot of, like, our state, the Indiana state flag or whatever, and it was, like, all red, like, our state was red for the presidency or whatever. And, like, some people were like, that's why I didn't vote, like, voting is stupid and stuff. And, like, I had made a video, and I was trying to tell them, I was like, you know, yeah, F the presidency. Like, don't vote for the presidency. They don't have an agenda for you anyways, but, like, local and state elections really matter. Because, like, we had, like, a black man running for governor, and he was a doctor, and he served on like a advisory board.
Okay.
And like, he was talking about the things he would do for COVID and stuff like that. And like, he had graduated from my alma mater, like high school.
Okay.
Like, he had went to like Stanford, like, you know, prodigy. And a lot of them didn't know that, and they was like saying voting, you know, was stupid and they didn't vote. So I'm like, he could have been our governor, and like, y'all didn't even, you know, consider that.
I think, you know what I think, and let me just say this with young people. Young people, I think you have to change, and I'm just saying about how you approach it. Young people like to feel powerful because that's how they feel internally. They have the best bodies and the most energy that they'll ever have in their lives, right? So you too. Yeah. So like, you feel that, and I think they feel like that the revolutionary thing to do is to not vote. The revolutionary thing to do is to kind of be like, oh, screw it, screw you. And I think what you have to kind of say is like, the powerful position is to get these people out of here. That's the powerful thing to do. Because the people you hate are going to show up and vote. The people that you say screw them, the people who have created the life that you have that you don't like are going to vote, and they're going to vote for you to stay stuck in the life that you have and you don't want. And I think you have to say, the life that you have is because we don't show up politically. Now, there are a lot of ways to show up politically that are not voting, that I would love to see more black people, especially ADOS people, involved in. A lot of different ways to do that. But if you don't show up, rest assured that everybody else is showing up politically, and they're showing up against you. So the question is to ask young people with all that energy, if you're going to fight or not. You got a lot of energy and you got a lot of talking in you, but are you going to fight or not? And like, you're in the best place in your life to fight. You never gonna have, young people, listen to me, I'm 45. You never gonna have that much energy again in your life. Like, the energy that you have now is just bound. Go ahead, fam. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was always nervous. Like, am I too early on this? Like, am I gonna miss out on my like teens and like early 20s focused on like politics and stuff? So I was like, am I too focused on this? You still gotta. I've been in for a long time.
But you still gotta live your life. See, that's the thing. You still gotta live your life. You still gotta have the experiences as a young person. You still gotta have fun. I know it's COVID, but I mean, you know, you still have to have because if you don't have those experiences, you'll grow up and you'll be resentful of politics because you will feel that it robbed you of fun that you could have had. So you still gotta go out and have fun, have tacos, sing karaoke, whatever y'all do, you still gotta do that. You still gotta do that. But you still have to also build a political foundation for yourself that you will continue to build on throughout life. You still have to have a political tribe that you continue to have throughout life that will be important to you as you grow older for your opportunities. So you have to be able to do both those things. You don't want to get so caught up in one of those things that you miss out on the other one. You want to say, hey, I had some good times during my youth, right? I had some friends and I've lived a life. You want to be able to do that. But you also have to have a political culture. We don't function without a political culture that anchors a political movement. We have to have that. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I know you got a lot of callers. This last question, if you can answer it.
Okay.
So, like, when you and Tone were like getting ADOS started, like, how did you like not go crazy? You know, having all the information, knowing who we are, and other people not knowing that. Like, how were you able to like put all that into like really, you know, doing the groundwork that you are today? Like, how did that like how was your mind state for that?
See the thing is for me, I started even well before that because I started out criticizing Obama by myself. And so I was alone for a long period criticizing Obama. But what you have to trust is that a significant number of people are going to eventually catch on. It's okay that they haven't caught on, but they will catch on. Now, you don't need everybody to catch on. And listen, it's a significant number of people that we love that ain't going to come with us. And that just is what it is.
Yeah.
But you got to know, like, I can't even tell you the amount of people who have come to me post-Obama and said, you know what, Yvette, I called you everything but a dog. But you were right. And I couldn't see it at the time, but you were right. You got to know at the moment that people are cussing you out, that eventually they're going to come around and say, you know what, you were right. And when they say that, you got to let them say it. And you can't be like, well, screw you. You called me a yellow dog, you dog. You can't be that way. You guys like, you were caught up in some kind of propaganda, right? And that's where you were. But you're here now. Now you only get one chance with me though. You can't just flip out again. You only get one shot with me. But I'm saying, like, you have to give people, redemption is real. You have to give people the opportunity to redeem themselves, because some people do. And enough people do. And you got to know, even when you're in the storm and they not, and they cursing you when they need to be cursing Obama, you got to know, okay, it's fine. But they coming. They coming. They can't. You can only resist the truth for so long. That's true. Unless you're the devil, you can only resist the truth for so long. You can't. And so they're going to come. And you just can't get frustrated in the fact that they haven't come yet. Everything happens in the fullness of time.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking my call. This is like my first time calling.
No problem. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, fam. I appreciate talking to the young people.
The work y'all do is like, it's amazing.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. And just stay on your journey and don't take it, you're young, don't take stuff too hard. When there's an opportunity, just get used to watching doors open. Because sometimes doors open, there's opportunity for you to slide in with a comment. That's a seed. Oh, somebody said something about he don't have this or this. Well, ADOS, that's what happens, and blah 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 blah. Opportunity, just watch for opportunities to slide in, but don't try to kick the door down all the time, and enjoy yourself, right? So that's what you have to do. I appreciate you, fam. I love when the young people call in. Thank you, fam. Yeah, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. You can't get frustrated because the people will frustrate you. They will have you scratching your hair and howling at the moon. You can't do it. Don't do it. I'm going now to 267. What is your name? Where you calling from? And what is on your mind?
Hi, Yvette. This is Princess 6.
What's going on, Princess? How you doing?
I'm doing okay, Yvette. I'm doing okay. I took notes because I tend to ramble and forget things. So, you have mentioned earlier that Trump was treated with the COVID cure, or not necessarily cure, but whatever treatment he received. I was reading an article today, and less than 10 people in the world have received that treatment that Trump received that healed him up so quickly. Mm-hmm. So, ain't that crazy?
I might have saw the same article. I saw an article that said that something they was talking about the treatments. I didn't even know he got that treatment. I had no idea. I don't even remember that being reported. And I read in an article, they said, well, he got this, and they said because one of the things that's used in that treatment is hard to find. And I was like, well, because I knew Trump was dead. I thought he was dead. I thought he was gone.
Me too.
When he was breathing hard, I was like, oh, he finished.
Yes. And the next day, he was perfectly fine.
Oh, yeah, he was on talk shows, talking a whole bunch of trash. I said, well, huh?
I know. And on that note, right now, I have 2 family members that are both hospitalized with COVID. So, COVID is real, and I can assure you that neither one is going to get that treatment that less than 10 people in the world have received. So, send prayers, but also to pivot into the holiday and telling people that COVID is real, stay home. So I know we do a lot of talking about how do we deal with our families and what do we say, and they frustrate us. stay home this holiday. Because, like I said, you know, it's real and people are really sick. My aunt, she's in her late 60s, and my cousin is 5 years younger than me. So, like, it's really...
And they both in the hospital.
Especially at home. Yeah, both in the hospital. Both in the hospital. Yeah, my aunt's been in the hospital for over the week. I don't have the details on my cousin. I just found out about him today. But, yeah, they're up in Philadelphia, in different parts of Philadelphia. So, it's real.
Well, you know, Princess Georgia ain't really counting the numbers. We say Georgia say we COVID free because we don't want to count nothing. We don't know. I know. I'm trying to keep it really. As I told my husband, you know, we are in a quarantine pod, so we need to keep it real close to home and real small. Usually we do a real big Thanksgiving, but not this year. Yeah, not this year. This year ain't the year. This year ain't the year. And you know, I saw another article that said that most people, the number one place to catch COVID is at the grocery store. So now I got to go back to wearing the gloves at the grocery store. I was just spraying my hand with hand sanitizer when I got in the car and washed it again. No, I can't do that no more. But go on to what you said. I'm sorry. That just disturbed my soul today.
How come you don't do Instacart?
You know, I did it for a little while, and then I stopped doing it because, you know, they have a fee. Just, you know what?
Yeah.
You know, I'm raised. Let me tell you one of my personal problems with some stuff. Now, not with everything, but I'm raised by by silent gen, the silent generation. That's because my parents had me at 35, right? My mama and my dad. So, like, what happens with me is that they basically like kind of Great Depression babies. So, like, I just, oh God, how much? And then the thing is, I always have to tip a lot because I feel that way. I'm not gonna let you bring me food, and then I don't tip you good. But then I still be looking at the receipt saying, how much did I pay? I could have gotten a box of tacos, and I could have gotten some lentils and some pinto beans and some black beans and some almond milk. And so my mind works different, but I understand. So I get it. So what I try to do now is I try to go to the store late, but I don't even know if that helps. I just be doing what I think works, and I don't even know if it works. But I have 2 masks on, but I'm wearing gloves now. But I'm let you finish.
This is unacceptable, Yvette. Please send that expedite. This is unacceptable. This is a new generation, and you need to cut it out. But I wanted to say is, if you cannot stay home, if you must go against the CDC headlines and their guidance and me and Yvette's advice, I just want folks to be realistic when you are having conversations with your family, right? You are not going to walk into grandmama's dining room and have a captured audience, and everyone's going to be rapt with what you have to say, and they're going to get it, and you're going to walk out, and the whole entire family has been persuaded to adopt the ADOS ideology. That's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Manage no, it's not. So manage your expectations, okay? Be realistic. Know your audience, okay? I don't fool with boomers no more, and it may be different in other people's families, but I've just seen boomers, in my experience, they caught on, and then one little thing happens, and they just regress, right? So we don't have time for the back and forth, right? I've said it before, I'll say it again. There are about 2 or 3 people in your life that you absolutely persuade more so than anyone else. They take you seriously. They listen to you. Those are your targets. And when I say targets, it's not about badgering them. It's about giving them information. You know, no pressure. Just keep feeding them information.
Yeah.
I did some reading. Go ahead, Becca.
No, I'm saying, yeah, sometimes you just got to tell people, well, I love Biden. Well, I don't know about that 1994 crime bill. All the black men. Didn't he lock up? Didn't they lock up nephew Mike? Didn't Uncle Leroy get locked up? I don't know. And they'd be like, well, they did stuff wrong. Yeah, and so did other people, but they didn't get that. Disparities, crack. I think you can put that out there. And the things you got to be good at too, though, Princess, you got to be able to put stuff out there and walk away from it. Ploop, you got to just drop it. I dropped that on your plate and walked off. I ain't got to stay here and fight with you.
Yeah. You know what else at and I'm not good at, because you said it earlier tonight, and I was like, oh, God, darn it. You said that when people realize that they have been wrong and they come to you, you just gotta let it go. And I don't know if I'm big enough for that. I don't know.
But I've done that a lot. I have people who like, yeah, I'm with it. I understand what you said. You call me a yellow dog. And if I stay stuck on the fact that you call me that, then we ain't gonna have no future together, because that was a personal insult. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. But you have to understand, like, lack of knowledge, that's in a book. That's how people, they have a problem, because they get caught up in the propaganda. I give you one shot. Now let me tell you, you can't do that again. You can't call me a name again. I give you one shot. Like I give you a chance to redeem yourself, right? I'm gonna give you that. So I think we have to do that, to give people one shot to redeem yourself. But then if you do that again, then okay, you just done proved to me that you have. Crazy. But I understand that, like, we can't hold people to such a high standard, given everything that white supremacist institutions have done to misinform them.
Yeah.
There's a whole campaign to misinform our people.
That's true. You're right, Yvette, but I almost don't believe you on that point. But I'm going to take you at your word, because you be giving people chances. I'm going to just take you at your word.
Just one, princess. Just one. I didn't say chances. I said chance. I give you one chance. One chance. You call me a name again, we gonna square up.
So you want to set a goal and make sure your goals are attainable. You ain't gonna get the whole entire family. Just focus on one or two people that you can start to have a conversation with, right? One of the articles I read is like, when you're with your family, act like you're an anthropologist, and just like you said, ask questions, very open-ended questions. One of the questions that was bantered around today is, what's the difference between ADOS and black folks? Is there a difference? And start just having a conversation about that. No pressure. But you're starting to plant the seeds. And then know your triggers. So I just wanted to put that out there. I hope it's helpful. Again, no pressure. Set realistic goals. Get rid of unrealistic expectations. Enjoy yourself. And Rome was not built in a day. That's all I have, Yvette.
I appreciate you, princess. You right, though. You ain't lied about it. You have not lied about it. You have not lied about it. Thank you, fam. I always do that. Let me just say too, I think sometimes when you are advocating, you can't be yourself personally invested. People can feel your investment and they'll needle you. So people will feel that you are invested in ADOS, and they'll say something just to trigger you, to get you to get up and throw your macaroni and cheese, and they still got their plate intact. Oh, okay, if you hate it, I understand, but I'm just wondering, like, I just wonder what are you gonna do? Didn't they lock up your son Jerome last week? Ain't it? That's awful. I like Jerome. He's a nice boy. And so, like, I think we have to figure out ways to do things that, like, you can't be personally invested in that way, right? You have to be like, listen, I'm just putting this stuff, this information out here. It's kind of like you go outside, you throw a bunch of seeds, and like Princess said, who was probably gonna be the most receptive, and you focus them on that part of soil, because that's part of the soil is richest. But I'm not invested in an individual seeds, because I planted a lot of seeds. Some seeds gonna grow somewhere. That's just what it is. So anyway, I'm going to the next call. I'm going to 410. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's me. It's Becca.
It is.
From Baltimore.
Hey, Becca.
Hi, Miss Yvette. How are you?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm just absolutely pumped. I was nervous about calling, but the chat convinced me to do so.
The chat got you in.
I finally made it. So I wanted to thank you so much for your work, and especially what you're doing for Black women in ADOS, because for the longest time I always felt isolated, because I never was an Obama-oholic. I know what this man was like wrong.
Uh-huh.
Because I would ask myself, like, hey, if he was a full white president, would I give him such, would I give him such leverage? And the answer was no. Would I be so impressed? No, and no. So, and thank you. I remember I started listening to this show when I just started becoming a Africana Studies minor in college. And, and then when I talked about ADOS, I mean, they talk about it even in that discipline. And it was such a contrast, like even when you are a person and you're in African studies and you're learning about black people all across the world, they do put us in our own separate group. And yet socially, it is not clicking with certain people. And certain people even get mad about it. And I'm like, well, I don't know. And then when I saw you guys and I was like, see, this is what I'm talking about. And I really appreciated everything that you were doing. I am an ADOS. I'm an ADOS supporter for life.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. I said, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, and I really think that this is going to take off with the young generation. Like I said, I'm from Baltimore, and people who don't know, Baltimore has a large portion of foreign black people mixed in with, ADOS.
Yeah.
And we know the differences. Like, nobody can tell me there's not differences because, I remember, like, my Jamaican girlfriend, like, she'll stab somebody because that's what they do. And yet, everybody else sitting up here like, you could have just thrown a book, but, they have different, social differences when it comes to insults. So, I don't know.
She wasn't playing no games.
I think there's...
No, I said your friend wasn't playing no games. Your friend wasn't playing no games. She wasn't throwing no book.
Yeah, because we know how us as black Americans, we had those yo mama jokes. They didn't have them yo mama jokes, so she just took that like you insulting family.
Yeah, you insulting my mama. Like, no, that's what we do. We talk about all about mama. We don't even know your mama. That's what we do. No, you insulted my mama. Let's go. I understand. Different culture. You got to know that. You got to know that before you walk in the door. You get yourself cut up. Stitches.
Yes, you would. And there's two topics I wanted to talk about. One, I think I wanted to discuss the fear of ADOS, especially among liberals, and my thoughts on Kamala.
Okay.
And First of all, I don't understand the fear of ADOS. I mean, truth be told, distinguishing yourself by your own tribe, truthfully, is a very much an African characteristic, if you want to be truthful. No matter what African country you go to, they will always separate themselves by religion, tribal, or ethnicity. That's just how it is. So I just like, if we bring that sort of, culture here, it makes sense. That's where you are. And I think for me personally, I think a lot of the problems we keep having here in America is because, since the 70s and 80s, when large influxes of foreign black people got here, it's hard for black leaders to know how to talk to them if they don't really know them. Just because they brown don't mean that we all interpret, we all have the same political ideologies and mannerisms.
Well, you know what? And we don't know how to talk to people differently, right? So the way you talk to the way you talk to a Jamaican, in terms of the people who also came from their own slavery, or Haitian people who have a kind of experience in that, is different than the way you talk to maybe a Dominican who still say no, I know black. It's different than the way you talk to a Guatemalan. It's different than the way you talk to, and it's just like I don't think we have separated everybody into different groups with different cultures. Even when we talk about the quote unquote, I don't think this group exists, but Latinos, right? In the sense of like somebody coming from Venezuela, or Cuba is different than somebody who is coming from Honduras in a lot of ways. And we really haven't broken down how these countries are different. We just like, no, we need all brown people to vote Democrat. Just bring them on in. That's not how you win people. And certainly not us. And you won't even tell us that we're different from them. We've been here, built the country, been here 400 years, and you won't even tell us that you won't even let us establish our own selves. That's a problem.
Exactly. And to me, that's cultural erasure. And I feel like this, I'm like, look, fam, if you study American history, there's only 3 groups that were the major foundation of America. That's whites and the Anglo-Saxons, the indigenous people. some of who are the Latinos of today and blacks. Okay, you know, that's it. That's the real trifecta that was there fighting for our independence and was there since the Pilgrims. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, it makes sense that I think that black people sometimes take on characteristics of other cultures when other countries they acknowledge who started their country. You know, that's why reparations will always make sense. Because if you were part of the group that made the country so attractive and built it up to where it is now, just for good karma, you should just pay what is owed.
Absolutely.
Pay what is owed.
Absolutely. And there's a word somebody introduced me to. It's called ethnocide. Look that up. In terms of the erasure of ADOS, in terms of just kind of, that's a whole other thing, fam. But I want to thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. And I think you're right.
Thank you.
It's a wild time, boy. It's just a wild time with all this stuff that's going on. I tell you the truth. Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Woo, it's a wild time. Let me go to my next call. I'm going to 720-720. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello, Yvette. How you doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing good. My name is Jerome. I'm calling in from Colorado.
What's going on?
From the East Coast, though. Enjoying another great show. I would like to thank you and Tone. I would like to thank the callers that called in and everybody in the chat, because this is such a wonderful thing that you have going on here with the book club and everything, because it's educating people. And I try to shoot your videos to people to wake them up, like the previous caller was talking about, or the princess was talking about, trying to wake people up. And like you said, plant the seed. I plant the seed, and then hopefully it grows. And for some people that just want to be stubborn, that, well, I don't think we should get reparations, because you actually got some people out there who feel that way. So what I would say to them is, I'll say, well, you don't mind if I bring you some paperwork to sign so that when it's being passed out, I can get yours, because you don't want it, right? You don't think we should get it or whatever. So you can forfeit yours on over to me. It won't be a big deal. But I have a question to you.
Sure.
And I want to say something. I have some ideas I'm going to shoot at you. And I have a question about this UBI. Have you heard of UBI?
Yep, absolutely have.
Okay, because I think that's a shot at them trying to avoid paying ADOS if they pass something like this to say, oh, well, everybody's getting some money, so that's sort of like your reparations, see? And I'm like, nah, I'm not with that. Y'all was big bread, long bread.
Still are.
And I want to say that, yeah, I have some thoughts about the about ADOS. I've been listening to everybody. I listen to ADOS. I listen to Roland Martin, Michi X. There's a lot of people. I listen to Dr. Umar, Boyce Watkins, Farrakhan. I mean, you name it. I'll listen to them because there's nothing wrong with listening. And what I think what you and Tone should work on next, I think y'all should have a round table and invite everybody to the table. Because
that's not happening.
When I look at everybody,
I'm gonna tell you what.
But let me say.
Okay,
I understand. I already know. You ain't even got to. I already know. I already know. Trust me, I'm with you because I listen to you. I'm with you. But the reason why I'm saying it, I'm just saying this, putting it out there.
Never, ever. Yeah.
Because we have a lot of intelligent people. I mean, even you go back to the old school people with Jesse Jackson and people like that. I don't agree with their message. I didn't agree with John Lewis's message. But I had mad love and respect for the man because he was out there. He put himself out there. He been out there. And I know his heart was in the right place. I didn't agree with how he was going about fighting for it, but I respect it. And those people been out there on the front lines. You gotta sit down and conversate.
Listen, hold on. You can't, even though I have serious disagreements, may they rest in peace, with John Lewis, you can't liken the people you just mentioned with like John Lewis and Jesse Jackson, who were actually like marching. John Lewis got beat up. You can't put the people that you just mentioned earlier in that same space as the people you mentioned later. They're not in that space. Now, I can disagree with John Lewis all day on some stuff, may he rest in peace, in terms of what he did later in life. But I can't say that man didn't sacrifice and put his life on the line early in his life. You cannot put the people that you mentioned earlier in the same category with John Lewis. They're not there. And let me just say this.
I agree. They're not there, but that ain't the reason why. Because what I'm saying is this. My point is this. If we're going to truly get there, we need to get there together.
But hold on 1 second. Let me just say one thing. The problem with the problem with the ADOS community right now, not even the larger black community. The problem with the ADOS community is not that we don't come together. That's not the issue that we have. The problem is we are unwilling to exclude people, even when we understand that they're hustlers and pimps and snake oil salesmen. We don't want to exclude nobody. What we want to say is, well, Yvette, they still share our lineage. They still share our... No, we have always included everybody. You know what happened? We include everybody, but we include people who are feds. We include people who have all kinds of issues. We include people who are just out for the money because everybody wants to be inclusive. Listen, exclusion is important.
Right.
Who doesn't get to come to the table is important. Because we've decided that you're not coming to the table for a specific reason. And that's the way it's supposed to be. When you do any tribe, when you talk about the rites of passage for any tribe, it's never a case where everybody crosses over. Some people don't become part of that tribe for obvious reasons. We don't want you. You're a weak link. You got to get these weak links out of here. And some people talk real tough, but they ain't tough at all. Some people talk real tough, talk loud and holler a lot, but you weak. Go ahead, fam.
That's why I called in, because, see, I knew you was going to come with some logic on that, and that's why I put it out there. Okay, one more thing real quick. I want to get off of here. I think you talked about the down ballot thing. I think that we should all, if we really want to start gaining some ground, because the previous caller talked about we don't have 4 more years, and I totally agree with that. We don't. But we need to stop registering as Democrats. We need to just register as independent until we can get our own party.
But no. We not. See, the thing is, registering independent is a problem. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate you. I'm gonna answer this off the call. Thank you so much. See, the problem with registering independent is you got to look at the laws of every state. Some laws you can't even you don't even get to vote in the primary. It's a lot of stuff that goes with that. And we built the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, we are the base of that party. Hold that party accountable. Don't say, well, I'm just going to leave and go over here. Now, I'm not saying that you can't. I'm not saying that there's not a place for that. I'm not saying that there's never a place for something like that. I'm just saying that, like, going off, it would have to have, it would take so much, fam. And I'm not saying that can't happen, but I'm just saying that, like, we always, sometimes, not always, because I've heard of, I heard of the People's Party and other. I'm not saying it can't ever work. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you have to be careful of the inclination to go and do something different that takes you outside of the thing that you built up. So you built up this Democratic Party after LBJ, and now so other people can just benefit from it? No, hold them accountable. I'm not doing that. You can lose. I'm still a whatever I am. Whether you're a registered, we've had some registered Republicans come in here last night, right? We had one. It is what it is. But what I'm saying is that, like, I'm not going to be run off. You're not going to run me off. Now, what I will do is make sure you don't get the White House. Or what I will do, if you a trash congressperson, I'll make sure you don't get that seat. That's what I will do. I'm not going to run off and try to reinvent the wheel when this is my wheel. That's kind of how I feel right now. It's subject to change. Anyway, let me go to the next callers, fam. I am going now to 601. 601, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette.
Hey.
This is Sharon, calling from Jackson, Mississippi.
What's going on in Mississippi?
I hadn't talked to you in a while, Yvette. I've become a caregiver for my 80-year-old mother and my 85-year-old father. And since COVID, I had to move in with them to take care of them.
Okay.
So I've just been having my hands full, my plate full. In addition, I have a 9-year-old great nephew from Atlanta who's living here, who I'm helping with virtual learning. You know, they got that school to prison pipeline. So I'm trying to keep him on the right track.
Yeah.
But it's just been a lot. It's been a lot.
Yeah.
But what I have done this past May, started a garden at my parents'. That's been my relaxation, and I want to invite the family to start, you know, if they just start a container garden in a flower pot or something. It's rewarding. The food, vegetables taste so much different and better.
Do they now?
And oh yeah, it's awesome. You know, just you can start small. Some people can, you know, may want to do herbs in their kitchen. You know, little flower
I go basil. That's as far as I've gotten. As far as I've gotten right now is growing basil, but I'll get further.
Do herbs, and it's just awesome. It really is, and like I say, the food tastes so much better. I just been fortunate. My boyfriend, he put some planter boxes on top of the ground, so my garden isn't in the ground, it's on top.
Okay.
My parents bought a lot next door, and it had a driveway, so we built the planter boxes on top of the driveway.
Okay.
So everything is like waist level, so we don't have to do a lot of bending. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was, you know, I'm a big fan of Ancestry, and I've taken my genealogy research to another level.
Okay.
I took a workshop with my state Department of Archives and History, and it was $10, and the workshop was 2 hours, and it was very informative. And I want to invite the family to look into their State Department of Archives and History and take a workshop, genealogy workshop, so that you can educate yourself better and to the next level. Because right now I find myself going to the state archives and I'm doing death certificates.
Oh, wow.
So,
I didn't even think to do that.
Mississippi is like from 1912, I think, until 1946. And then you can print them off and they're only 20 cents. And I'm able now to connect the dots to my family. And last but not least, you know me, I keep going on. When we do our AWS advocating, let's make it personal. And you can make it personal with your genealogy. Like for Veterans Day, I posted on my Facebook page that my third great-grandfather, Solomon Council, was a Civil War veteran. So let's make it personal and learn your genealogy. So when
because
we do
you know,
advocate for reparations, we can say my third great grandfather fought in the Civil War.
And that stops a lot of the nonsense. You know, one of the things that we had and we still have is a lot of nonsense. So people will say, "Oh my God, why are you celebrating Veterans Day? That's an imperialist." Listen, ADOS have fought in every war on this soil. You want me to give that up? You want me to because that means I don't honor the sacrifice of my people who I don't. So you want me not to honor that sacrifice? And I think you're right. It's important when you start to make it personal. When you can see, God, this was my family. Look at his uniform. Think about what happened, what he had, what we had to come back to at the time when we started to have nurses, black nurses. That too. We gotta stop letting people dictate to us and making us subtract parts of our history. They want us to subtract and don't talk about that.
History.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I've been fortunate to get the book on audio, and I cried. I've been crying, but I can't wait to December 10th when we talk about it.
Yeah, I've been reading it too. It's a hard read though, because you come up on these little parts that are just kind of really heart wrenching, and you I'm trying to get through this book, but I keep coming to these parts.
Yeah, I've been crying because my family came from Maryland via Georgia, and it's like Forsyth, Georgia. And I said, that's my family they're talking about in the book.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's them Georgia men, to come down there. Ooh, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it, family. But I want you. I know you're taking care of your parents. They're elderly. I want you to make sure you take care of yourself. Like you said, you're gardening. Make sure you take time out there to grow your bell peppers or whatever you're doing, because that can be a hard road. And make sure that you are supported. I know you have somebody there with you, but just make sure you're supported. All this virtual learning stuff and other stuff you're doing. Make sure you take a lot of time out for self-care in this moment. That's all I want to add to that.
Thank you. Love you, family. Love
you back, fam. I appreciate you. Yeah, we gotta listen, fam. We all gotta take some time out for what we gotta take time out for, and we gotta, we can't, I think sometimes we don't realize that like we're the most important person in our journey. So if you don't keep this most important person, that's us, healthy, and mentally healthy. No, we're just not talking about physically healthy. We're talking about mentally healthy too. We're going to have a really hard road. We're going to run into really hard times. You have to have some self-awareness to realize when like, oh, I'm kind of struggling. I didn't realize I was really struggling. I'm struggling. And so I'm fatigued. Why am I so fatigued? Why am I so tired? What am I going through? You have to have that kind of internal barometer too, to kind of let you know that you need to go outside and garden, or let you know that you need to take a bubble bath, or whatever you got to do. So I'm going to my next call. I'm going to 612. 612, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi. I am a short-time listener and a first-time caller. And I just want to say, I want to get this out the way. It's great what you and Tone have put out for us to help sow these seeds, because that's what I'm doing. Me and my best friend, a.k.a. Clifford Lester, we are trying to we have decided that we're going to, I don't know if anybody's listening and you're in Minnesota, and you've already started ADO's chapter, can you get a hold of me or send me a PM, because we need to connect. I digress. But me and my best friend has thought that we need to get some young ADOS candidates on any ballot in the next year or two. Like, we need to get these people, councilmen and then some senators, because that's what we need to do. We need to get political up in this piece. I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio. Shout out to Columbus, Ohio. Okay. And I'm now currently living in Minnesota. So my thing is this: what do you have any suggestions of or books to read that would help me in this endeavor? We need to get some. We're thinking young black people, young ADOS people, not black people, young ADOS people to run. Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think you need a see. The thing is, the thing that people like to do if they want to run is they think that the best book is a book that's on community organizing. And I'm not saying those are not great books, but I think the best books are some of the books that we're reading and have already read. Because the one thing you want, if you want somebody to run for, I don't care whether it's city council or dog catcher, the thing that's going to sustain them is the passion for what they're doing. Because as somebody who has been in politics, has seen that they're gonna get tired, and if you don't have something inside of you that kind of pushes you beyond that fatigue, you're gonna have problems. If you don't have something inside of you that says no, I'm not gonna be bought out, you're gonna have problems. So I think what you have to do is you have to find young people who have a little bit of fire already. And then you throw coals on that, right? And the coals is this book. Right. This is who we are. This is the pride of ADOS. This is what we're working for. And you have to also have an accountability mechanism. So I wouldn't even want to do that in a city that doesn't have a strong ADOS chapter, because there has to be people to be like, oh, you really messed up, or are you selling out? What you doing? There has to be some kind of accountability mechanism for people who are running, so we see them and they know that you're being held accountable by us and for us. And I wouldn't even, we've talked about this before, but I would focus locally, not only because of how expensive it is, but it's also because you're going to make mistakes. As a candidate, as a first-time candidate especially, you are going to mess up. The best thing for you to do is mess up locally. so that we can get in there, you can fix it, and it's not like a huge, you don't have a bunch of cameras or whatever. You can get in there, you can figure it out, and you can do whatever you need to do in terms of your media training and get it together. There's a lot of reasons, financially and otherwise, why starting locally. I know some people don't seem to have problems kind of grappling with that. But there are a lot of reasons for that. There are a lot of reasons why that's what you do. But they gotta have that fire. If you don't have that fire, you're gonna have a hard time.
Okay. Oh, definitely. And let me just say right now, I am on fire. I'm a fighter all day, and that could be a bad thing and a good thing. But I'm a fighter, and like right from the beginning, like Obama, like when he first came up, I felt very wary, and I was like, I don't know about this guy, But then, the Republicans started saying, oh, we're gonna make him a one-term president, and my bias kicked in. I was like, oh, you're taking this black man down, and I didn't even think to check this brother.
Yeah. Yeah, well, one of the things I always said about Obama though was that I can defend Obama against white racists, but I'm not going to defend him for black people. I mean, I can. That's different. But go on, fam. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. So, long story short, I've been fooled, and you ain't gonna fool me again. And one more thing I want to say about my lineage in ADOS. A very funny thing happened. Like my last name is very specific, and my cousin happened to tell me about this book about this place. A place called Appomattox, which talks about the people who owned my ancestors. So he owned the courthouse and the land that the Civil War Treaty was signed on. So I mean that's in my history. It may be from that part of it, but So I'm rambling here, and I apologize.
No, you're fine.
I'm just super excited.
No,
and just anybody in Minnesota, please reach out to me so we can get this thing going. I don't know what to do.
Make sure you put your information in the chat if you haven't already. I wasn't able to see, so that people can reach out to you. All right, fam. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you more. Love you.
Love you back. Yeah, make sure you put it in there so people know how to reach out and talk to you, because for those of you all, I know a lot of people have said I want to start a chapter. I got your email. We're just working with chapters that already started and trying to find ways to help the chapters that have been around a while, help the new chapters. So that's going to take a little bit, but don't think I forgot about you because you sent me an email. I didn't. I'm just storing those away. Till we can use them and get people situated in terms. I know a lot of y'all want to do a lot of stuff, and it's happening. It's happening. Anyway, let me go to 205. 205, what is your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, man. What's going on?
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm excited to be on your show. Thank you for taking my call. Like the last caller, I felt like I was bribed into voting for Obama. My mother-in-law said she would kick me out of her will if I didn't vote for Obama the second time. I was like, are you kidding me? So, the boomers, they had us right where they wanted us. But
always.
I was calling to ask about petitions. The White House.gov, they have a page called petitions.whitehouse.gov. And, I was just scrolling through, and I see all of these petitions for a recount. And I was just thinking, maybe, I should, put up a petition so we can all sign it to get it up to the top of the list so they can kind of give us, I don't know.
I thought about something.
What are your thoughts about petitions?
You know what? I thought about something like that a while ago. Somebody brought it to me, and I thought it, could actually be something to get attention. But then, you know what? Some of us are so contrarian, and I said, it's not going to work because we got too many contrarians. Well, who they were just like, well, I don't know, and I don't know if I should, and I don't know if I want to, and then I said, never mind. We'll just build this way in terms of building our movement from the inside. So that's what I decided to do in terms of let's build our chapters up. Let's really get organized. Let's have an agenda in terms of what we're going to do right, during these Biden years, and how we're going to move, and how we're going to advocate, and how we're going to outreach, and how we're going to change our media, how we're going to change our social media. So I just decided that kind of thing would be more important to what we're doing than the petition. But I understand why you said that, though.
Yeah, because, you should go to that site. It's petitions.whitehouse.gov. Read some of those petitions. It will crack you up.
Yeah.
I don't know, you've probably been there already, but
yeah, I saw it a while ago. Because you remember Obama used to have a rule that, like, something, if it was over 100,000, he would do something. I can't remember what it was. He said if it's over 100,000, I don't know, dance on a hot tin roof. I don't remember, but he said he would do something, mention it or something. So people used to whatever.
One of the petitions is to arrest Nancy Pelosi for treason. I was like, what?
Child, these people crazy.
Wild, so
these people crazy.
Y'all should take a look at those, and I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you for taking my call.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Good night.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. But yeah, them people. I appreciate it, fam. But them people, they got all kind of petitions. They kind of throw it off over there. The people who send them over to this White House, they might be. I don't listen. Anything that you think gonna get Nancy Pelosi kicked out of something, I don't know what you talking about. Like, why would you even write that up? She treason. What you mean? You gotta. Oh, I don't even know what they be doing half time. But let me go to my next caller. I am going now to 904. 904. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, this is Brianna from LA, but originally from Jacksonville, Florida.
Hey, Brianna.
SFADO is now in the chat. Hey.
Hey.
I just wanted. Good to talk to you again. Oh, child, it's so hard to get through on this line. But, I just wanted to start off by saying, that I love you, of course, and I just love the ADOS family so much, and I appreciate everyone. And I want everyone to know that they are loved and are cared about and appreciated. And, we're just so important to each other's lives. And I know everybody's going through a really tough time right now, and I just want to just send everybody love and prayers and good vibes, and just everyone stay strong, and just do the best that you can, as I am trying to do as well, because we're always living this ADOS life. We're always all going through something. So just continue, to send love to one another and be there for one another, and just keep everybody lifted in thoughts and all that. So
I appreciate
it. First thing I wanted to talk about is, thank you, with the stimulus. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I found that I find challenging with the stimulus, as well as the fact that we're not getting another one, and obviously, we're struggling the most during COVID as ADOS. But also, we live in households where there's a lot of us to the household a lot of times. Mm-hmm. So that means we as a group are probably claiming more people as dependents. And, for the stimulus, if you claim someone as a dependent, that dependent doesn't get any of the stimulus, as well as if you said that somebody could have claimed you, even if nobody actually did claim you, if you even made it available for someone to claim you, you didn't get the stimulus. So I know a lot of us didn't get it because of that, which is also making COVID extra hard.
Yeah.
And I know as a culture too, we often, during tax time, we're always asking, like, hey, can I claim you on my taxes? We never thought a time would come where it mattered, the fact that you claim someone on your taxes, or you asked to, that it would affect you.
That's a good point.
So I just know that's affecting a lot of people, and including myself, so that's unfortunate. And then secondly and lastly, I wanted to talk about where I am with dealing with my family. I'm at a point, I've been, riding with the ADOS train for about 5 years now. It got introduced to me through Tone in 2015. I've been riding hard ever since, and I've been trying to get my family on board for a long time, and at exclusion of my mother, it's been impossible. And I'm just at a point where I have cut a lot of people off. Like, I just have to be savage like that, because to me, when you tell me that you don't think that I deserve reparations and that we deserve reparations, you're basically saying you don't care about me at that point. Because most of my family is older than me. You know, I'm in my 20s. I have a cousin who's 18, and then I have a newborn cousin that just turned 1. And so everyone in my family, in exclusion of myself and my 2 cousins, are all in their 50s. And so every time I try to talk to them about, you know, ADOS and reparations and XYZ, they're just always throwing, you know, well, I just want to start a business and we just got to do this, we got to do that. And I'm like, yo, your years, like, you have way more years behind you than ahead of you. Like, your life has been okay and you're halfway through and you're talking about business. Like, how has that worked out for you thus far? And it's just selfish to me at that point if you're telling me you're not down for reparations. You've lived a decent life. Your life is halfway over. But you're telling me, F me and F my cousins, F the people that you're leaving behind. You don't care. So at the end of the day, I cannot give you that same love that I've always given you because you're not loving me back. You telling me I don't deserve it and that you don't care to fight for this with the time that you have left, that's a F you to me. So I got to cut you off. Like, it is what it is.
And you know what?
I still love you. And let me just, still my, I love you and you're still my family, but it is what it is. Like, I cannot be showing you the same love and empathy that I always have because you're not caring about my future.
Well, let me just say this:
anyway,
that same person, if the next president decided to cut off Social Security, they would be livid and they would want you to be upset with them. Oh my God, y'all got to do something about this. Y'all, the young generation, go get my Social Security. Wait a minute though.
Yep.
Where's the reciprocation? You want government for you, and government has been better to you because you had labor. We don't have no labor, so labor don't pay what it used to pay, and we have gig jobs and a whole lot of other stuff too. But you want me to like help you if anything did something, pensions, any of that stuff went away. If you got a pension you expecting, you'd be real upset. But then if I say, listen, we can't make it here because we haven't gotten our due and everything is falling downhill, and y'all are part of the reason we don't have it because you didn't fight the right fight, then all of a sudden I'm a problem. So I get it. Yeah. But what I would say, even to people who can't say what you did, right? Can't do what you did, I'm sorry. I would say, listen, you can't, when these people come to you then and want you to fight for them, oh my God, my pension. Can you get on the phone? Because they love to get you on the phone. Because you went to school or whatever. You sound better than me on the phone. I don't want to talk on the phone. Like, I think we don't understand we have a right to say no. That's what they're saying. They're saying no. They're saying no, I don't want to fight for your reparations. I don't care about that. I think what we have to say is that we have a right to be self-interested too. Now, I'm not even saying don't talk to people or whatever like that. I understand what you're doing. You savage with it. But what I'm saying is that, like, you don't have to fight. If somebody's unwilling to fight for you, you don't got to fight for them. You don't have to, when their pension goes belly up or whatever, you don't have to, you can just be like, well, I think you ought to go be a greeter at the Walmart. That's just kind of where you at right now. That's your level, right? And it's not mean what they're doing to us. Go ahead. I'm sorry, fam.
Oh, no. And it just really frustrates me. And I think I've gotten so savage because I pointed out to some of the older people in my family, you know, that are in their 70s and 80s. I point out to them what my great-grandparents left behind for them that made them okay. Y'all aren't leaving me anything behind. Y'all have never given me anything while I was here. So the least you need to be doing is being political and help me advocate the best that I can. And you don't want to do that. And the whole thing with the Social Security, I went through that with my grandmother. She was pressing me about voting for Biden because she was talking about Trump wanting to get rid of Social Security. Like, okay, it's very one-sided, and I'm sick of it, and I'm tired of it. I still love my family. I still speak to them, but I can only be so close to you at this point because you don't care about my future, yet my great-grandparents left things for you and your future. They didn't have much, but they still had something, and nobody wants to do anything for me. I have to protect my energy, and I can't be talking to you like that. It is what it is.
We out here redefining family because family's supposed to care about you, you know, and they're supposed to be like, okay, you're right, you got a point, I'm gonna fight for you.
Yeah, because my family is very loving. They're constantly telling me they love me and XYZ. No, bump that. Loving me is advocating for reparations. Loving for me is caring about my future and doing this political advocacy. Because even the things I've asked of them, it's little things. I asked you to watch a Breaking Brown YouTube. I asked you to watch Tone Talk. I even try to cater it to you. Like, I have uncles that are really into sports. I'll send them videos where, Tone will talk about, LeBron or somebody who's in entertainment. I'll send them, critiques about, videos you've done about Diddy. I even try to personalize it to you to make you intrigued, and you still don't care. It's not that hard to watch a YouTube video to get started. It's not that hard to read a book, because you're fine sitting up watching Housewives and doing what you want to do, things that aren't helpful, but you can't do this one thing for me. I'm good. Like, I can't do that. You telling me you love me, but you not wanting to fight for reparations is not going to feed me in the future. It's not going to make me not homeless. It's not going to help me. That's not what love is. I have to redefine that. So I have found a new family in my ADOS family, even though we're not blood. Y'all are the people that I relate to. Y'all are the people who understand me, and y'all are the people who are in this fight with me. So y'all are my new family now, as far as I'm concerned. And it's been that way, and I'm great with it, and I'm happy with it. And I love y'all.
Ooh, we love you back, fam. We love you back. Thank you so much. And let me just say this. Thank you, fam. I appreciate you. That was a wonderful call. Let me just say this too. I think ADOS is going to eventually, well, we are family, but it's going to eventually, as the holidays keep rolling around and people keep saying crazy stuff to people, it's going to eventually be kind of like a support group in a lot of ways. That's what family's supposed to be. When family stop being family and says, well, you shut up. I don't want to, you couldn't even vote down ballot for me. I didn't even, listen, that would have been something in my direction. If you had said, you couldn't even do that. You couldn't even do that. Come on, fam. You couldn't do that for me. I done filled out all this paperwork for you over there at the social work office and over there at the daggone social security office. I'm always here for you. When you short, I give it. You couldn't do that for me? Well, what can you do for me? You can't watch the first 10 minutes of a video with me? It's a problem. And I think we're beginning to understand that, love is a verb, right? But what happens too often is that people use love as just like fluffy words. Oh, I love you. You my baby girl. Let me tickle you. Or whatever. And it's just like, I just love you to death. That's not what I'm... No. What is the action? Because I take action for you. I take action to show you that I love you. What action are you willing to take for me? Okay, if you disagree with me, watch these videos and we can talk about why. That's fine. You won't even do that though. Okay, well, we just have to reassess what this is. Now, I'm not saying be mean to anybody or be vengeful, right? Because I don't want you to hold that hardness in your heart. But I think you have to kind of reassess what you're willing to give people who aren't willing to give anything to you. Because when we talk about love, you can't have no kind of loving relationship without reciprocity. Reciprocity is key to any kind of meaningful. I don't care whether you're talking about somebody that you're married to or dating, or whether you talk about a sister or a brother or a mama, that has to be, that's reciprocal. When you little, you can't really reciprocate. But when you get older, the expectation is that you will. And they'll reciprocate to you with what they have. And that's a loving relationship. It's a back and forth. I don't know what this is when we just end up being the givers and everybody else ends up being the takers. I don't know what that is, and we have to assess that. I'm going to my next call, 347. 347, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Oh, I made it. Oh, man. 50 tries. Hey, man, how you doing? I'm Kenneth. I'm from Queens, New York. But I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
First,
what part you from? What part of Atlanta you from?
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, say what part of Atlanta you from? You said you're originally from Atlanta. You where you from out in there?
College Park.
Oh, okay.
College Park.
All right. I got you.
Yeah. I'm probably one of the younger elements of the ADOS community. I'm 24.
Oh.
I started listening to you when I was in college. And I actually got involved in politics. I started working for Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. And It's funny, as an aside, it's funny because... when I started working for her, she came to my graduation, and we were sitting at the table, and my mom comes in, and she's like, so what are you going to do about reparations? And this is way before she even got elected. And I saw her not that long ago, and she was talking to me about it because it was just very funny how that issue keeps coming back up. Mm-hmm. But I do want to say for everybody in the chat and the work you guys do, it really is felt. I mean, I have my own opinion about politics, just from working in it and seeing how it operates. You are very spot on about how power works and how power moves, and how people misconstrue our message and things of that nature. But I do think there's a lot of people who hear your message that you might not even know. And I'm sure you know that. So I wanted to say thank you on that front.
I appreciate it.
But I do have a
go ahead.
I do have a quick question. So my question is, how do you feel about the defunding police topic? A lot of people who are my age, a little bit younger, feel very strongly about the issue. And my concern is, fighting for reparations is a very long and, hopefully not arduous, but it is going to be a pretty difficult situation. But if, just seeing how just immediately after the election, we've kind of caved on this issue, I just want to know what your thoughts on it and how that might translate to us fighting for reparations. A good example is, sorry, let me cut you off. A good example is, a couple of my friends work for Jamal Bowman, and he said to them, he was like, if we can't fight on this issue or make our message clear, how are we going to make that message clear on reparations? So I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, see, I have a sort of different view on that, right? In the sense of he was saying that reparations is sort of more radical than defund the police. And it has become that because it's tied to ADOS. Not because it is radical, it's just because it's tied to us. Because you've done it for other groups and it's not been radical. It's only radical because you don't want to give this bottom group any money. But what I will say is that defunding the police is radical. Now, in the sense of, I said this the other day, but when you say defund the police, everybody wants to tell you, well, that's not what I said. I didn't say defund the police. I meant more money for the community. Or I meant more money for mental health. Or I meant for people to come out with the police. That's not what you said, though. You said defund the police. So what you leave people with is this idea that we and everybody else is going to be living in areas where there's no police. And I think even though people don't want to say it, see, the thing is, I don't even think ADOS don't want no police. What we want is the police not to treat us like dogs, worse than dogs. That's what we want. Don't shoot us in the street. Don't kick our door in and shoot us. Don't kill us in cars. Don't kill us walking. Don't murder us. Don't come to school to prison pipeline and take our children to jail. That's what we want, to be treated fairly. That doesn't mean we want communities that are not policed. That doesn't mean if somebody kicks in your door doing a home invasion, you don't want to be able to call 911, right? And so I think what happens is you gotta act like people have to be who they say they are. So if you're not saying defund the police, if you're not saying take away all, then you can't say that. You got to say something. You got to say what you mean, and you got to say it in the nuanced way that you mean it. Everything can't just be making up something that sounds good. Remember the 8 can't wait? These 8 things they had too, that were supposed to prevent violence. I think what's happening with the left is that, and this is why the right wins a lot, is the left is unserious. You have to be able, instead of just, and this is, I blame Bernie Sanders for this. You have to be able, Bernie kept saying, when we talked about how are you going to have health care, everybody else does it. They do it around the world. Every other first world country does it. They do it everywhere. I understand that. But what is the specific plan? And does it really make sense? And I think it does. I think there's a way to get to what he was saying. Now, I understand reparations has to come first. But there's a way to get to what he's saying. But you don't seem serious about getting there. There's not enough seriousness. You can't just say, well, we going to defund the police. You have to say, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take some of the funds here and put them here. We're going to take some of the funds from here and we're going to put them here. We're still going to have police, but we're going to have police monitored by community boards. And we're going to put them here. We're going to do this. You have to do something. And what kind of happens is that it seems to me that the left gets caught up in catchphrases. Even with Black Lives Matter. Okay, that's a declaration that is true. That's not a plan. And even when you got to their plan, it's class. It's not black. It's not ADOS. It's not nothing. It's a class-based policy. So I just feel like, first of all, I don't feel like this should be, a debt should not be radical. Now I understand this, it's been made radical because of who we are. But that should not be a radical position that America is a country that has to pay its debt and owes debts. You know, this idea of defund the police is more radical to me. And so I see the kind of pushback was, hey, please don't make it seem like this is more radical than that when it's not. We've been talking about reparations, not seriously. But reparations came up all the way back in the Reconstruction. And because it is a debt that is owed, actually, after Reconstruction, what y'all did wrong, America, is that you allowed this group of scallywag white people to kind of, who were Confederates and traitors, to get their wealth and social capital back and run us off of our land, and you abandoned us. The federal government abandoned us amongst those KKK people. So we could have had this all wrapped up, but America chose not to wrap it up, and so now we're here. That should not be radical. And I think the people who have radicalized it are really, when you look at the Daughters of the Confederacy and all of these people who have been charged with radicalizing everything that ADOS needs to live in the country that we built. But I don't think it should be that radical. I don't think it should be that hard. And I think if we understand the urgency of it, that's the closer we get to it. Like when we understand it's not a choice, it's a choice between life and death. It's not a choice between like, well, maybe I can just work or maybe I get reparations. No, it ain't no choice no more. So this has to, so to what you said in the last part, this has to be the most urgent thing, the most urgent political thing you do in your life. Because you need it. Your kids need it. Your family need it. Your tribe needs it. So that's my answer to that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. That was great. I got a little history lesson and I got to talk to somebody I admire. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, fam. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I think we might be going to our last caller, although I understand I got a lot of calls. The queue is still backed up. It's still backed up. It is people. Let me see. We're going to 715. 715, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette.
Hey.
This is kind of not off topic, but I haven't really heard you talk about this before. But, like, in the mixed people, where do they stand? Like,
what you mean? What you mean? Are they ADOS?
Yeah, like, are they ADOS, or, like, should they be fighting for the same thing, or not?
What do you mean should they be?
If that makes sense.
What do you mean should they be fighting for the same thing? That's an interesting question. What do you mean should they be fighting for the same thing?
Like reparations.
Well, yeah, I think well, you know, and the answer to that for any mixed person really comes down to this. I think it comes down to this. You can tell me, where are you anchored? Because see, I think some people like Barack Obama would have a different answer than some other mixed people who kind of grew up with with the black parent in the house, right? So I don't know if Tracy Ellis Ross would have that answer because of where she was anchored. So I think the question for you or for anybody in terms of that is, how do you anchor yourself? Now I think in terms of like the technicality of it, right? I think yes, I don't think there's a way to kind of exclude. But I think you have to, you know, there's a whole conversation Antonio was having a while ago about how being grandfathered in, if you can trace at least one back to a slave, you know, I think that's part of it. But I think one of the problems that we run into with some mixed people, not all, is that you're anchored in a white parent, and so you have lived a mostly white life, and then you get into really black spaces and take the diversity space. So that's a whole other issue, though, than whether or not you get to claim ADOS. Hello?
Hello? Yeah, sorry.
So that's my answer to that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think I don't even think we've had the conversation. Like, there's no way to push like, you ain't ADOS, you got one, you only got one. There's no way for us to really say that. But I think everybody has to start operating with a degree of honor, right? If your dad was like this rich white man, like pump, just, you should advocate for ADOS, absolutely. But understand that like the context of your life is different, right? And you should not kind of play a card that is not your card, right? You should advocate because that's the right thing to do, and that's your people too. But don't be like, well, I'm the same as somebody who grew up here, who was full ADOS, had a mama who kept getting evicted because had a daddy who was in jail. Just understand the contextual reality of your situation versus other people. There are some differences that you kind of start to see when you get into some of this. So, but you absolutely should support the movement. I don't see why you wouldn't. 251, I'm coming to you. This is going to be my last call then. 251, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
My name is Carnell Davis, and I'm calling from Mobile, Alabama.
What's going on, Carnell? How you doing?
And I'm doing fine. It's good to see another Carnell out there, although my first name is Carnell.
What's up with you?
But I was listening to you last night, and the conversation went toward why is it that Democrats don't get better Democratic candidates. And as I listen, I realize that maybe, and I'm hoping I'm coming through because it's kind of sound like maybe I'm not. But
no, you're coming through.
I'm hoping because as I listen to you, and I listened to you over the last couple of years, but not as much lately, but I just happened to tune in last night. The reason the Democratic Party controls the local Democrats. And then if you want to run as a Democrat, you got to go through the Democrats in the local community that have been controlling things for 30, 35 years.
Absolutely.
I'm 68. I go all the way back to when things were elected on at-large basis, and then the courts and the federal courts and all that made it district. And the local Democrats, just like on the national level, basically they just fell in line with how politics have been done over the years.
Yeah.
But if you want to run as a Democrat on the local level, you got to go through, and it's like a clique thing, and that's what the young lady said last night. It's like a clique. You can't. Then if you want to run, you may have to run as a Republican. And then in the South, that's a no-no.
Well, and here's what I would say, man. I don't want to cut you off, but let me just say this before it goes out my head. What I would say too is people don't understand. Even when you're talking about running for these big offices, people will say, I can run for this and I can win. And they don't understand when you talk to them, like, what is your relationship to the Democratic Party? Like, and they'll be like, well, I don't really have one. Well, then you can't win. Like, you're running for a big office, you're not going to win. And so what happens is, to me, honestly, is that ADOS has to change the relationship with these state Democratic parties. Because these state parties are running everything. They are running everything. And instead of us making demands of these state parties, we just go along to get along. But you're not going to make it to Congress. You're not going to make it because they're going to hold all the purse strings and everything. You're going to have a relationship, or you're going to have to be backed by that state party. And if the state party don't ever back us, we got to figure out what we got to do on the state level to the state party, because you can't just circumvent the state unless you got a few $1 million falling out your pocket, loose change.
Not only the state, but starting from the local, the city and county.
Absolutely.
Like we have city and county district representative. When I was a very young person, everything was elected at large, but and I'm assuming it's been like this in all of the local areas. The people who got in under that district level, we have Democratic elected officials who have been in office 35 and 40 years. Once they get elected, they never leave, and they clamp down the Democratic Party. Like you say, if you don't have a relationship with them, you're not gonna be able to run as a Democrat. You're not. It's just that simple.
Not gonna happen.
And I just heard the young lady that, and that's why at the end of the day they all come out and they say, well, you gotta vote Democrat. You gotta vote Democrat. And then they had a local Democratic Party, they have a state Democratic Party, and they have the National Democratic Party. And so black people, they don't. You don't have a choice. You really don't have a choice. And I just heard that young lady last night, and that really just, and that's what. And I work with a lot of the people who are in office now, on the local level here in Mobile and in Alabama. I worked with them years ago, and I thought we were working to try to better the community. But what they were working for was getting in position, and they draw their checks, and they don't come out. They don't do anything. They just control and make everything, go Democratic, and the Democratic Party send money to them too.
Yeah, of course.
They send money to them, and so they can go on the radio and tell people what to do and that kind of thing. But I listened to you about 2 years ago. Couple of years ago. I listened for a long time, but I just so happened to listen in last night, and the comments you made, you said, well, we ought to have a better caliber of Democratic people running for office. You're not going to get that because
no. But see, the thing is, you're not going to get that because we're not going to hold these parties accountable. You're not going to hold your local Democratic Party accountable. You're not going to hold your state Democratic Party accountable. We're never going to get in a position to say, or we haven't, to say, like, I'm not voting for this Democrat. Why? Well, you're the base, wherever you go. Negroes are the base of the Democratic Party. I don't care what you talk about. It depends on the state, yes. If you don't have, of course, we're not the base if you are in a mostly white state, right? Of course, we're not the base if you're in a very heavy Latino. But what I'm saying is, you have states like Georgia and other places where, like, the people who come out most for you are black people. But we're never going to tell the Democratic Party what we want. We're never going to say, like, see, the thing is, we have the power to actually change the Democratic Party from within. We're just not active within the Democratic Party in terms of our states. We show up to vote, and that's it. And so that's not a recipe for, like, changing any kind of party. I don't think you transform the Republican Party. You can run it and then you can get elected. You're not changing what they believe in, though. You're not changing their values. I think you can actually change. I think you can actually switch up the Democratic Party if you're active, because we still are the base of that party.
Right, and I'll just say this, and I'll let you go because I know you got other callers. You have a very long and hard.
I agree.
Thing in front of you.
Oh, I agree. On that we can agree.
Because the majority population politics, they ain't never wanted to give black people nothing. No. You know it. And so to say that they're going to give us reparations.
Well, listen. Listen, let me just say this. There was a time when Negroes was hanging from trees. There was a time when Negroes was enslaved, and I'm sure they could not envision, like, us still being here. I'm sure they a lot of them couldn't. Not all of them. Some of them did. That's why they fought. But I'm sure a lot of them could not envision, like, we would be here having this conversation about being actively involved in politics. I think the road for us has always been hard. But I think we have to understand that hard is not impossible.
You're correct, and I'm going to start listening back in more and more. I just heard, and a lot of the people that call in, they have a lot of good points and a lot of good issues, like the young man that was on before me. And so you're doing a good job.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And actually, no, we're not going to. We are at the end, fam. We are at the 2-hour mark. I apologize if you called in during the call-in show and you still couldn't get through in the 2 hours. I know that's got a great. But we'll have other shows and other call-ins and stuff like that. So don't worry about it. I apologize though if you were not able to get through. But it's just we had a full queue today of people wanting to talk about it, and it was a wonderful conversation. And I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody who did call in. It was wonderful, wonderful, and wonderful. A lot of great calls we had today. Ooh, you gotta be thankful for them great calls. We had some wonderful calls. I want to thank everybody. I know this is not the regular day. This was the call-in day. I want to thank everybody who called in. I want to thank y'all who got on the line and couldn't get through. We still appreciate you. We still love you. And all of that good stuff, fam. Please hit that like button for me. I appreciate that. We will be back on what's the day? Thursday, Monday, and for our regularly scheduled program. I don't know what day Thanksgiving falls on, but it won't matter no way because we don't skip no holidays. We keep it going. So anyway, fam, please, 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 enjoy the rest of your night. Just hit that like button for me if you can. I'd appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Don't bother nobody. Don't let nobody bother you. And until next time, please take care of yourself. Take care of the people around you. Make sure that you are engaging in self-care actively, or using a barometer to make sure that you are not hiding from yourself some of the stuff that you're going through and the stuff that you need. And we all have different things. Sometimes people got to read. Sometimes people got to take a bubble bath, or whatever the case may be. Just make sure that you're taking care of you, right? And make sure that you still got to wear the mask, and make sure you sanitize your hands and wash your hands and take care of yourself, because it's going to be a minute. They say this thing is spiking up, so I just know what they say. So take care of yourself, fam, and until next time, please keep it easy, breathe.